Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I got a off-the-cuff kind of video, meaning that I didn't write a script for this. I have a few points I want to talk about, but it's going to be more of a chill video, and I just have some points to talk about the early access and basically what you should be expecting. I'm going to say this towards the end of the video, but I want to reiterate this about the early access. Manage expectations, but ultimately have fun. The early access is not going to be perfect. It's not going to be all your dreams coming true. I think a lot of things you might be surprised about, especially if you haven't played the alpha, but I would manage expectations because you don't want to be let down with a game like this because there's so much different things to do, and if you have a mind of what the game is actually going to be like in your head versus what it's actually going to be like, it's going to break your expectations. You might not want to play. Maybe that's not true, but go into this game with an open mind, explore the game a little bit, have fun, like do everything you want to do, and I think you'll have a great time. And I think the early access is going to be a great way to do that if you don't want to wait for the full release. So let's talk about some things that we can expect from the early access. For people that have played the alpha, they can relate to this experience already. You're going to be going into a mild alpha phase of the game where a lot of the bugs already have been fixed. Stairway Games already fixed a bunch of stuff, and you're not gonna have to worry about the more annoying bugs that people in the closed alpha had to play through. But that doesn't mean you're not gonna get any bugs. So it is an early access. There still might be a bunch of annoying bugs. I'm not sure if they gave you a warning for this, but basically when you bought the alpha version, or when you paid on the Kickstarter and got the closed alpha key and everything like that, they told you to expect annoying stuff to happen. If your game crashes or your save file crashes, expect that, because it might happen, and it's going to be annoying. It's going to be really, really annoying, but it's part of the early access experience. Now, if that happens in full release, that's a little bit less acceptable, I would say. Game-breaking bugs like that, where the save file completely just gets corrupt, that shouldn't be in a full release game. That should be already found out within the closed alpha, I'd say. Just expect those kind of things. And if you're not a fan of bugs, or you just want to have the most polished version of the game, then you might want to wait for the full release. And I should state, the Coral Island early access is coming out on October 11th. The NDA is lifting on October 9th, so there's going to be a ton of people streaming the game, making videos about the game, including me. If you are interested in getting the early access, you can get it on Steam. If you have Game Pass, you can get it on Game Pass. It's only going to be on the PC version of Game Pass, so if you can't play it on the Xbox just yet, but you can play it on the PC. Another thing you can expect from an early access, and it might be obvious for some people, but maybe not for others, is that not all the content will be available at first. Actually, not all the content will be available at all through the early access. They're gonna wait till the full release to do a huge patch that adds a lot more stuff to kind of finish off the game, round it off a little bit. So don't go into the early access, especially in October, and expect to have the full game. I'm not sure how much of the game is going to be available to everybody, but I'm assuming you won't be able to play through the whole story right away. I'm thinking they're still writing the story, maybe improving upon it. I wish they gave us like a time frame, like how much time you'd be able to put into the game to kind of beat the story, or even if the story will be available at all. I think it should be, to do like tutorials and that kind of stuff, but we'll see. So for the people that are looking forward to the story and want to experience the full story, and that's kind of all you're interested in, maybe the full release would be a better idea, because it's going to be more of like an episodic thing where every update, a little bit more of the story comes out, which actually could be fun. But if you're more of just want to grind out through the game, finish the story and all that good stuff, then maybe waiting a little bit longer could be a good idea. The game is coming to full release, or it's supposed to come out next year sometime. I'm gonna guess probably they're gonna try to do end of next year, so 2023, November, December time frame, maybe October, do like 1 year out. Which brings me to my next point, which is expect delays. It's an early access. They're still working through a lot of bugs. They're still working on other content to add to the game. And maybe they'll post something saying this and this and this is going to come to the game. And they did this a lot through the developer diaries and the blog post that they would put on their website. They would say this and this and this are going to come out during this update, and then they would delay it, or they just wouldn't add it all. They would be like, we still want to make sure it looks the best, even in the closed alpha. So we're gonna wait to release this just a little bit later. So expect a lot of those stuff, because ultimately the game developing world is unpredictable, and people leave companies and people join companies, which takes time to get used to the company and having to learn a bunch of new stuff. Just expect all those things to happen, because it is gonna happen. I can assure you there's gonna be delay happening, possibly in the first month or 2 months of the game, where maybe they'll just push an update a few days, a week, couple weeks. It's still gonna be, I think it's still gonna be good. I don't think they'll be too bad at the delays, and I think we're still gonna get frequent updates, which I think is going to be a good idea. I sort of stated this a little bit before, but expect the early access to be around 1 year. Don't expect the early access to be finished in about a couple months. Early accesses usually take a while. Games usually want to take advantage of the early access because they're just improving upon the game, and there's a lot of bugs, and the community helps fix those bugs and in turn make the game a lot better. I mean, there's games that come out in early access and they basically stay in early access for their whole life cycle. I believe Fortnite is actually in some sort of early access, or some sort of early access alpha beta stage, and they just never technically went out to full release, but they're basically a full release game. So there's gonna be a lot of marketing about this game, about the game coming out on October 11th. I think a lot of people are gonna be confused that maybe it's the full release of the game, because the game was supposed to come out around this time frame, I believe. And I just want to make sure you know that it's going to be at least a year before the full release comes out, maybe longer. I'm kind of expecting possibly 2024. I don't know if they'll wait that long. I mean, you'll still be able to get the game, so I don't think that's going to be the issue. So maybe they'll just want to wait just a little bit longer. So my last point is expect to be part of the process of what makes the games great. Meaning you're going to be playing the early access. You're going to be finding bugs and maybe things you don't like, maybe just feedback. It's really important that you give this feedback and these bugs to the developers. I'm sure they're gonna have an easy way, or where you can post this stuff, maybe bookmark it, maybe put it somewhere where you can get to it quickly, and you can report the bugs, or they're just the feedback you got just right off the top of your head. Maybe you got something, you don't want to forget about it, put it in that feedback text document and just send it to Stairway Games, because they do check all that stuff, or at least I believe they do, and they've been giving a lot of feedback. I think they're listening to the community, which is a good thing, and the community is going to be part of the process from the early access to full release, making the game great. All right, that's it. That's all I had. I wanted to make a quick video about this because it was just in my head, and maybe some people don't really know what early access is. Maybe they've seen other games that are say they're early access, but technically they're the full game, and then they're kind of confused when they go into this game, and maybe it's not everything you desired or everything you were expecting, and maybe you're bummed out a little bit. Ultimately, I'm just trying to manage the expectations. I'm not saying the game's not going to be fun. I think the game's going to be great. I think there's going to be a lot to do in the game. While the story might not be fully available during early access, I think there's going to be so many other things you can do, like mining, diving, farming, making friendships, dating, all that stuff. And it's going to make the game so much fun to play. The frequent updates that they hopefully do is also going to make the game great. So I said in the beginning, and I'll say it at the end, manage your expectations, but ultimately have fun, because that's all. It's a game. It's what it's all about, just having fun. The developers have been hard at work at this. The developers, everybody at Stairway Games, basically, that's been part of the process. The people that have been playing the alpha, everybody's been working so hard, and it's just to have a good time. It's just a game, have fun. Let me know about what you think about the video, if you agree with some of the things that you should expect from the early access, or if anything you would add, or anything you might disagree with. I'm kind of curious if anybody disagrees with any of these things. And with that said, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.